So we talked last week about a report that came out that the Colts were calling the Broncos about Jerry Jeudy and about a possible trade to get Jerry Jeudy. And then later that day, the Steve Smith comments happened on Thursday Night Football. And it seemed like that train kind of went cold. Nobody really talked about it after that. Nobody really wanted him after that. But there was another report just last night. And I got to tell you, this is from ML Football. Put it up here for you. This is from ML Football. So this could be real. This could not be real. But this says the Indianapolis Colts have spoken with the Denver Broncos regarding star wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, according to an NFL source, which we've talked about before. Colts would love to pair Michael Pittman Jr. and Jerry Jeudy for the long term with Josh Downs as the downfield threat. Now, this also says Indy has also explored multiple offensive line options as well. So when I saw this on Twitter, I immediately went over to Destin Adams to see if he had any information on this, if he had said anything about this since this report came out. And what he said was, I've reported and wrote a piece on the Colts having serious interest in trading for Jerry Jeudy. And I've been told that interest is still very much alive. The second part of that tweet, I have not heard anything on the Colts looking to trade for an offensive lineman. And then as I was scrolling through the comment section of this tweet, one of the guys that's a good follow in the Colts community at Drop Balls Pod, he said, I was just about to ask you about the Jeudy stuff. How likely is it that a deal gets done for him? And that's when Destin said, trades are always hard to gauge because things change within minutes in this league at times. But I know the Colts have had interest in acquiring Jeudy for a while, and that interest is still there. It still comes down to what the Broncos would part with them for. So at this point, it seems like the Colts making a move to get Jerry Jeudy is very likely at this point. It's just about compensation and trying to figure out what that's going to be. And with the injury to Alec Pierce, right, you're bringing Juwan Winfrey in. Like, there hasn't been much information on Alec Pierce, so I'm wondering, are they getting more opinions on him and his shoulder injury, right? What's going on with him and how likely is a trade? Again, this is ML football. So I'm not sure if this is still an ongoing situation, but it's Destin Adams saying that the Colts still have interest in acquiring him, and that it was just October 12th. I think it was a week ago today. The report came out about Jerry Jeudy possibly going to the Colts because the Colts have been calling. So at the moment, it feels like this is something that could happen, especially when you start to mention, right, the new information, the stuff we hadn't heard before was that the front office wants to pair Jeudy with Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs for the long term. So in that situation, right, that means they already know they want to re-sign Michael Pittman Jr. and they're trying to work on doing that. And they've already seen enough out of Josh Downs that they know he's going to be a guy for a while and want to keep him here. And then they want to add Jerry Jeudy to that. Right? Jerry Jeudy's only 24 years old. So adding him into the mix, he's another young guy. We'd have him for the rest of this season. And then we already have his fifth-year option next season. So that we'd see what it looks like with him and AR, having Michael Pittman Jr. back, having Josh Downs in his second season. And don't forget, we're going to have Jonathan Taylor. We're definitely going to have Zach Moss this year. No telling if we'll have Zach Moss next year. But if you think about what the offense would look like going forward in the future, right? Anthony Richardson at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor next to him at running back, Michael Pittman Jr., Jerry Jeudy, Josh Downs, Jelani Woods, Drew Ogletree, Will Mallory. Like in that scenario, as long as the offensive line holds up a little bit, like in that situation, you just have to be average. Just have an average offensive line. We have the number 4 ranked offensive line according to PFF. Right here on this channel, we take PFF with a grain of salt. But hey, it's at least a good gauge into where the offensive line as a unit is, right? In terms of run blocking, pass blocking. And overall, the Colts are number 4 for the second straight week. So the offensive line has been doing their part, and they've been holding up. So I think adding Jerry Jeudy would bring a good element to this offense, right? Somebody that can create separation. I saw after that Thursday night game, there was one of those graphs that came out, one of those separation graphs that came out, and Jerry Jeudy's average separation in that game against the Chiefs was like 5.19 yards. Okay, if we can get that on this team, that's going to help any quarterback, right? You would think it would help any quarterback, especially when you have a guy like Josh Downs, who also has been good at creating separation. Michael Pittman Jr. has different routes. He has some routes that he's better at creating separation on than others, but he too can create separation. You know, he's really good at creating the separation on those slant routes, which is good to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand. So I understand that after what Steve Smith said on Thursday night, that a lot of people are like, "Oh no, we're not going to do this." And then people saw Jerry Jeudy, dancing and getting hyped to the music pregame, and weren't really about it. I think that's more of a normal thing for players, honestly. But I'm still all for bringing Jerry Jeudy in as long as the price is right. We cannot overpay for a guy that can't stay on the field. We just can't do it, right? It has to be for a reasonable price. With them selling, right, there's leverage for the Colts here. So I think at the end of the day, the most they're giving up is a fourth round pick, right? Like a fourth and a sixth or a fourth and a fifth, whatever might be the most. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if by the end of it, right, as the deadline approaches, if they really just want to make sure they get something back for him before they're never able to get something for Jerry Jeudy, then yeah, they might go ahead take a fifth round pick or a sixth round pick, right? We've seen good players get traded for pretty much nothing in the very recent past. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say that Jerry Jeudy would be traded for a fifth or sixth round pick, right? Again, has had issues staying on the field. That's going to affect things, right? That affects the numbers. So when you go look at the numbers don't support the fact that people say he's a star wide receiver. Yeah, he's a really good wide receiver, but the numbers since he came in the league, you stack him up to all the other receivers. Where is he ranked? Right. And at the end of the day, that's what teams will bring up. The production hasn't been able to be there because his availability hasn't been there. So I think that'll drive the price down. The deadline coming up will drive the price down. The only thing that'll make us have to give up anything more than a fourth round pick is going to be competition in this situation, right? How many teams are calling about Jerry Jeudy? Right, you saw the Chiefs. I had heard at one point that the Chiefs were inquiring about Jerry Jeudy, but that's in the same division. There's no way they were going to do that. So the Chiefs trade for McCall Hardman, right? There are teams looking for weapons, and if Jerry Judy's available, there are going to be teams calling, especially teams that are ready to win, and we'll see what they're ready to give up for Jerry Jeudy. But again, I think the Colts, realistic situation, right? This is the one team that we keep hearing about is calling about Jerry Jeudy. We keep hearing, yeah, there are other teams calling, but the Colts are the one that keep getting brought up and keep getting brought up. Why is that? Maybe this is the one that's going to hit. So I'd be interested to know what you think. Do you think we're going to trade for Jerry Jeudy? If we did, what should we give up? Right. And you got to think with Alec Pierce and his injury, not a good chance he's going to be part of a trade package right now. So it's not like, we're basically just trading draft capital at this point. I don't know what players we would trade in this situation. Maybe you have an idea of that. Maybe you let me know that down in the comments as well. But at the end of the day, I would be excited if this happened. I'd be really excited if this happened. All right. I think this would be sweet. Michael Pittman Jr., Jerry Jeudy, Josh Downs for the future with AR and JT. Like, yeah, give me all that. Okay, please let that happen. Now, there's certainly a chance that Devontae Adams is still on the table. There was a report when I woke up this morning, right after I woke up, got the notification from ESPN that Devontae Adams is growing more frustrated. And hey, if he doesn't like the fact that his role is diminishing, right, getting like 2-3 catches a game at this point, hey, come on over to Indy, bro. We'll pepper you with targets, get you, 10 to 12 every game. You and Michael Pittman Jr. can, get about 20 targets between two of you every single game. Everything's going to be all right. I think that would be cool too. But I think the more realistic thing, and when you're thinking about the future, especially if you don't have to give up a whole lot of draft capital for Jerry Jeudy, for a 24-year-old wide receiver that, if he stays healthy, really good wide receiver, if you don't have to give up much draft capital, is, in my opinion, just makes more sense to go after Jerry Jeudy. But again, Devontae Adams seems like he's still on the table because he's not happy where he is, and the deadline's coming up. I wouldn't be surprised if we're hearing that he actually asked for a trade pretty soon. So we'll see what happens. Again, you let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit that like button. hit that sub button and make sure you keep your notifications on so you get notified more videos like this or any Colts news that comes out. All right. And with that said, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.